VO3. If you haven't heard about this AI generative tool, it is unbelievable. I just witnessed a couple of AI generated videos and I'm not mildly impressed, but incredibly impressed because holy crap, that thing is, it's a diamond in the rough because it's still a little rough, but just know that it's definitely making strides. From where we came from about 2 years ago, it seems that this AI generative tool is it's unbelievable and incredible as well. I do want to go ahead and talk about the issue of AI generative content, because I think that as much as artists fight for their rights to protect their art, it seems like these tech companies in the US are always one step ahead, and in most countries as well. I know the EU is attempting to regulate AI content art, but it's not fast enough, and apparently China has made an incredible stride when it comes to regulating AI art. However, it's incredibly lax from what I hear, because if you're generating AI art that belongs to artists, you're feeding it into this AI generator and you're contributing to the country's growth, to China's growth, then they won't go after you, which, yeah, China prioritizes growth over going after artists. So there's that. But in the US in particular, they're like coming up with all sorts of ways to hinder artists from protecting their art. So of course, there are mechanisms to protect the art, like glazing. If you guys don't know what glazing is, essentially it's when, I don't know how it functions, but apparently you code whatever image you have, and then anytime an AI generative tool attempts to take that art piece to mimic its style, it won't be able to. Again, I don't understand the mechanisms behind it, but if you guys want and you guys want to protect your art, I highly suggest you guys look into glazing. But even then, glazing is only just one obstacle that most computer scientists can get around by developing software or creating some sort of answer to that particular obstacle. So it's only going to be around for so long before these tech companies outpace it. So I do want to go ahead and bring up this topic because as of late, I'm sure that you guys know, or if you don't know, there are artists that are attempting to get into AI art, even though there are a lot of resistance. There's a lot of resistance, but some of the artists are realizing, you know what, man, I can't wait any longer, because the guy who's picking up the AI tool and is adapting to it is going to outcompete me and potentially take my job. Which, yeah, there's a lot of artists out there that are currently playing with these tools and they're getting much better and potentially outpacing the traditional artists, which the traditional artist relies heavily on creating art pieces on paper, or if you're a digital artist or more new age artist, you rely on tablets to create that artwork. But now it's gotten to the point where if you're using digital art and you're using these AI tools, you can combine them to create art that is significantly faster. There's people out there that are creating trailers of what could have potentially been a movie just within a day, and traditional artists or a digital artist is definitely not going to be able to keep up with that pace. If anything, this is like a rabbit and turtle race. The rabbit's significantly much faster and the turtle is still making its way. It might even flip over on its shell. So it's definitely not a obstacle that most traditional or digital artists can compete if you're not already on the AI tool. And even though there are platforms like Kara where you can be an artist and you can expose your art without feeling the fear of an AI generative coming over to scrape your content, then that you can use that. But to be honest though, man, after seeing VO3, after seeing just how elaborate and incredible this AI generative tool is, I think I'm getting to the point where I'm like, you know what, man, I don't think we can compete against this, because it doesn't matter even if you protect your work. Yeah, you may protect your work, but at the end of the day, are you going to get hired by a company to collaborate with? I don't think so, because this is most likely going to be the future. Companies are going to prioritize time management. And so if you can produce a piece of art that looks like this and you can produce it within a day, they're most likely going to want to work with you rather than an artist, a traditional artist that's going to take their time and present quality. And I may be narrow-minded at the moment, but I feel like the only path forward for a artist is becoming some sort of influencer where a community can support your art, because I just can't see somebody sticking to traditional or digital art and maintaining that same workflow. That sounds like it's going to contrast with companies' interests. Most importantly, it seems that the majority of the people don't really seem like they truly understand what it means to have their work copyrighted. Obviously, because they're not artists themselves, so they don't really sympathize with the artists as much. They do say stuff like, you know, support the artists and stuff like that, but it doesn't really mean anything when, you know, they're also using these AI tools. Because if you go on X, if you go on YouTube, if you go on Instagram, I mean, it's all over the place. There's tremendous amounts of people that are using AI art on X, and then on Instagram as well. If you go on Instagram, you can see that they're making juxtapositions of Disney characters with DC characters, combining them together and creating a whole new masterpiece. And of course, if you go on YouTube, you can see that on YouTube, the thumbnails are AI generated. At least some of them are. They're AI generated. We have a P. Diddy case that apparently is also AI generated, but it's unbelievable what these people are creating. You know, I think that one thing that I'm suggesting to do is that if you don't want to use any of these AI tools, I really highly suggest that at least get familiar with them, because you don't want to be that person that doesn't understand these tools and then gets outcompeted by the artist who does understand these tools. Because I can sit here and say that I support you and stand by you, but at the end of the day, there's always going to be people who are going to go against you. And these people who are going to go against you are most likely going to be sharpening their skills, because they're the ones who are going to be utilizing these AI tools. Yeah, I just kind of want to just go ahead and talk about that. I think that this tool is definitely going to revolutionize the entire industry. And it's unfortunate because, yes, you can definitely expect certain positions to be diminished. You know, obviously the idea is that, you know, folks want AI to be a tool for artists to collaborate with, but it doesn't really seem like that's going to be the case. Considering VO3 and what it can do, I just can't imagine somebody hiring a director, actors, cameraman, sound designers, maybe sound designers to kind of fix up the sound, because it's still kind of janky, but give it like 2 or 3 more years and yeah, you're probably not going to need all of that talent. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to go ahead and just talk about that. I thought it was pretty interesting. That's really all I have for you guys, and I'll see you guys next video.